What's up, guys? Welcome to G Whiskey. My name is Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and once in a while I'll throw in other whiskey-related content. Today I want to get a little bit speculative. I want to talk to you about a brand that I think is going to be the next big thing in whiskey. Stick around. Alright, so you saw the clickbait thumbnail, you heard the intro. We're going to be talking about the next big thing in whiskey today. And I should preface this by saying that this might not be the only next big thing in whiskey, but it is a brand that's really impressed me so far. But that being said, there are plenty of brands out there, new brands, new distilleries that I would say are on the up and up, and you never know. Those brands might outshine this one someday. We might see a mysterious dip in quality. Russia could invade the distillery. We can't predict the future. So of course, it's all speculation here, but as of right now, as of 2022, I foresee these guys being one of the hottest whiskey brands down the line. They're already making huge waves in the industry. And listen, I think for a lot of you out there who are kind of like plugged into the whiskey scene, this will not come as a huge shock. It's not going to be a huge revelation, but I think it might surprise some of you. Because this brand is not like a household name yet. I'm not sure everyone's heard of them. They're still an up-and-comer, and maybe you're not like me. Maybe you actually have a life outside of whiskey. Sounds great. You might not have actually heard of these guys, so make sure you stick around for the big reveal. And also, I've got a mystery pour in my glass here. Now, this is from another brand, not the one I'll be talking about today, but another up-and-coming brand that I think is making some really interesting whiskey these days. So make sure you stick around after the big reveal, and I'll let you know what's in my glass. Also, please leave a like. And I usually throw those in a much smoother way when I'm like segueing into a review or into a list or something, but I'm just talking today. But yes, if you leave a like, that would be greatly appreciated. As I mentioned earlier, we've got a lot of new distilleries popping up these days, and that's not necessarily a new phenomenon. Of course, we have had our whiskey boom for the last maybe 10, 15 years, but even prior to that, we had a lot of stuff popping up over the last maybe 20 or 30 years. The most famous of which is probably the oldest new or the newest old distillery, depending on how you look at it. The most famous would be Arran. Arran basically took the whiskey world by storm, and rightly so. They only got started in the 90s, and they're just killing it these days. Like, if you look around WhiskeyTube, the online whiskey community, reviewers and whatnot, very few people have anything bad to say about Arran. I definitely don't. I feel like they're getting everything right. Their whiskeys are affordable, they're delicious, and they're craft presented. And the thing is, pretty much every brand that's gotten started over the last few decades has had to do the same. Of course, their whiskeys are not tried and tested, they're not well known, they're not these big brand whiskeys. They can't be, they're just getting started, so they have something to prove. And with the rise of the internet and reviewers and social media, we've become a lot more picky, more discerning, and probably a lot more annoying to producers. But yeah, we do care more about how we spend our money these days. If you're a brand and you're just getting started, you have to give us the 46%. You have to give us the non-chill filter. You have to give us the natural color. I can't think of any newish brands that aren't doing that. Now, I might be wrong. They might be out there. If you know of any, do let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, off the top of my head, I can't think of a lot of newish brands that are just getting started that are not giving us a craft presentation. And of course, that's a good thing. That's what we want. But yeah, I'm thinking of brands like Nickneen, Toravaig, Ardnamurchan, Rasse, Lindoris, Clydesdale, Wolfburn. There's loads of them out there. And of course, I haven't tried all of them, but I have tried some of them. And here's the good news. And I feel like the whiskey world needs good news right now, especially with all our recent price hikes and everything that's happening. So here's the good news. These new brands are making really cool whiskey. Again, they're all craft presented. These are interesting distillates. They just need a few more years. They need a little bit more time, but there is loads of potential out there. So in about 5 to 10 years, we're going to have a whole new crop of like high quality, fresh-faced new whiskeys to choose from. Those will be a very welcome entry on the whiskey scene, especially with a lot of the old guard whiskeys just getting more and more expensive, unreasonably priced these days. I do hope that these new up-and-coming brands maintain a reasonable price tag on their whiskeys. I know that's asking a lot, and I'm sure some won't, but I hope some do. Anyway, for a guy that prides himself on his concise videos, I'm definitely droning on today, so let's just cut to the chase, shall we? We're here to talk about the next big thing in whiskey. This is a brand that has done nothing but impress me so far. And I am 100% sure that moving forward, they're going to make huge waves in the whiskey industry. I'm talking about Ardnamurchan. Now again, if you are already plugged into the whiskey scene, this probably comes as no surprise to you. And if you're plugged into my channel, I've looked at these guys a couple times before. Again, no big surprise there, but damn, these guys make good whiskey. Now, these guys only got started around 2014, so pretty much everything I've tried from them is either going to be 5, 6, maybe coming up on 7 years old. And they're all really interesting. So what I've got here, I've got a 5-year-old cask strength expression. That one is a Taiwan exclusive. It is sherried, it is matured in a PX cask, and it's unpeated. The other two are part of their standard releases that they put out every few months. Those are matured in both bourbon and sherry barrels, and they have both peated and unpeated distillate in there. I've also tried a few of their other standard expressions, and everything these guys put out is fantastic. A lot of them taste much older than they have any right to. We have a great texture in there, lovely oiliness, a great balance, really nice flavors in these. Damn, this is great marketing for them. They should pay me. You think they'd pay me retroactively for a video I've already put out? Probably not. I wouldn't ask for much. So formally, these guys are part of the Highlands region, but they are just by the sea. And as far as I'm concerned, spiritually, they are part of the Islands region. You have a gentle coastal character, you have a gentle peaty character, you have some minerality. It's like somewhere in between, let's say, Arran, Talisker, and maybe throw in a little bit of Oban. So they're definitely in very good company. And like I said, I've enjoyed everything they've put out so far, so I'm really excited to see what kind of stuff they put out down the line. Time will tell, but I think they're going to make huge waves in the industry, and that's why I think they're the next big brand in whiskey. Fuck, I really should have billed them for this video. Anyway, as I said earlier, there's loads of other brands that are very interesting, that are up-and-comers, that will be giving these guys a run for their money. And I'm looking forward to that stiff competition. I think in a few years, we'll have some really interesting whiskeys on our shelves. And one of them, I think, will be the mystery pour that I've got in my glass here. It's another great up-and-comer. Now, they don't have the age that Ardnamurchan has. As I said, Ardnamurchan, 5 to, I guess, 7 years old, most of their stuff. These guys only got started in 2017, so they're a little bit behind in terms of age, but they're already making some really interesting whiskey. And they are Isle of Raasay. Really interesting brand. Now, they're not quite there yet because they are still quite young, but the distillate is good, and I think with a few more years, this will be beautiful stuff. They'll give Ardnamurchan a run for their money, so stay tuned. Stay tuned for Raasay. Stay tuned for Ardnamurchan. All the other brands that I mentioned earlier, I'm definitely leaving some out as well. I think we've got some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline. And with that, I think we can call it a day. It is always nice to end on a positive note, so there we go. A brand to look out for, or actually a couple brands to look out for. Great. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you want to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron. Otherwise, you can like, comment, and subscribe. That is always appreciated. And we'll see you next time. Bye.